up, FHN? Welcome back to the Nightly Show. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Max. And we've got a lot of great things in store for you this week.
There's been a lot of strange weather lately, but we can still find comfort in the Nightly Show.
Yeah, and this week we've got a lot of great stuff to show from our amazing community.
That reminds me, Sarah Korte made a 15 questions with Bailey Scarborough.
Let's get to it.
Oh, hey, Bailey.
Oh, hi, Sarah.
Fancy seeing you here.
Well, it is my house.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
I see that you have your cheer bag out. What are you up to?
Just packing for tomorrow's pep assembly.
How exciting. So, when did you start cheerleading?
I started when I was about 5.
What made you initially want to get into cheerleading?
My mom.
If you could have any colored pom-poms, what color would they be?
Pink.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much time does cheerleading take up?
Probably a 7.
What other extra activities are you involved in?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm actually involved in DECA, FBLA, Sports Leadership Council, mentors, to name a few.
So being so involved with cheerleading and other activities, what tips do you have for staying on top of things?
Time management and organization.
Who has been your biggest role model and mentor through your cheerleading journey?
Probably my mom.
Just a wee minute.
Okay. Thanks, Mom. Okay.
Aww. How has your mom supported you through your cheerleading journey?
She's at everything, every game, any competition. She's always been there for me and pushes me to do my best.
What is your favorite trick in cheerleading?
A back handspring.
Would you mind showing the viewers that trick? Oh, that was amazing, Bailey. Thank you.
Stop it.
Do you plan on cheerleading in college?
Yeah, at Kansas State University.
What do you hope to achieve when you get older, Bailey?
I just want to be happy and content with wherever I end up in life.
If you could give our viewers one last piece of advice, what would it be?
To not take any opportunity for granted.
Thank you so much, Bailey. Have an amazing night.
Of course.
Bailey has been a cheerleader for as long as I've known her.
Yeah, she's done some really awesome stuff with her team.
So true, but she isn't the only senior with a talent.
Allison Bass has been showing us her origami skills for a while now.
Here's how to make an origami lily.
These are perfect to make this time of year as we see more flowers blooming around us.
That's right, and it seems like we have more from the Bass family.
That's right. She and her younger brother Jacob have a pet bearded dragon.
You don't see those every day, and Jacob's here to tell us all about them.
Bearded dragons are cold-blooded reptiles that have derpy-looking faces and some interesting ways to stay hidden. Bearded dragons are small lizards that may look spiky, but that's just an act to ward off predators. They have a low and wide body shape that lets them hug surfaces when lying down. But when they walk, they raise themselves up and can actually go pretty fast for how small they are. They have a tail that's as long as their body and a triangle-shaped head. Most species of bearded dragons can grow to be 60 centimeters long from head to tail tip. Bearded dragons will inhale a lot of air to inflate both their body and a beard they have to make themselves look bigger and more threatening to predators. They can also be found in a variety of colors, usually being a color similar to the environment they live in to serve as a camouflage. They can also change color when aggressive or that they feel threatened, and to help regulate their body temperature. Bearded dragons can't really make any sounds other than a low hiss. Other than this, bearded dragons can communicate through bobbing their heads and hands to communicate with other bearded dragons. A bearded dragon's main habitat is a dry or mostly dry environment. They mainly live in Australia. Bearded dragons live in areas like woodlands, coastal dunes, heathland, tropical savannas, and deserts. And when temperatures get cold, bearded dragons enter a hibernation state where they sleep in a small hole in the ground. Bearded dragons are small lizards that come in a variety of colors, have a strange way of communicating, and with their signature beard and spikes, they truly are a fascinating species.
Bearded dragons are pretty awesome.
Yeah, but they kind of remind me of Dr. Kurt Connor.
Oh yeah, the lizard. He's a pretty cool villain from the Amazing Spider-Man.
I'm not sure Spider-Man would call him cool.
Here's Ian's look into what makes a good Spider-Man.
What is a hero? What makes somebody a hero? Is it powers, willpower, something else? We all have our own ideas of what makes us a hero. Whether that's firefighters stopping fires, or TV shows, comics, and even your friends. One such hero is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is one of the most recognizable characters in the world. But with so many adaptations of the character, which really proves what is the best Spider-Man? And I'm here to give you that definition and answer the question of what makes a good Spider-Man. Created by Steve Ditko back in August 1962, the first Spider-Man comic was released. Due to its popularity, the first Spider-Man comic line launched in March 1963. The line explored the complexity of the character, but was just the very basic parts of him, such as his origin story of being bitten by a radioactive spider and getting powers and him donning the suit. It's all basic stuff everybody knows. But back in 1971, things had started to change. See, back in the 60s, comics weren't able to have those deep and super dramatic tones. But at the start of the 70s, those tones started to change and seep into the comics more and more. Majority of time, characters would never have to deal with grief or loss or any kind of death or anything of that sort. Over time, restrictions got lifted and comics were more often allowed to have more of those violent and deeper tones, bringing out more of a light into those characters and showing more emotion and character and depth into what Spider-Man and those other characters in the Marvel Universe and DC Universe and all those characters, what they had to offer and what their true feelings were. Now that we have all that background info out of the way, let's swing into the character of Spider-Man. If you're going to talk about Spider-Man, first you have to talk about Peter Parker. Without Peter Parker, there would never be a Spider-Man. You see, Peter is the heart, the soul, the brains, the personality, and everything that you love about the character is Peter Parker, not Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the alter ego. Peter has never stood out, but the costume gives him the confidence to stand out. Peter has been lonely and never really had many friends, so Spider-Man is also lonely. He's lonely because of what happens to his uncle. He fears that if any person gets close to him, they will die. Like his uncle, his girlfriend, his aunt, his friend, and his mentor. Anyone he loves or cares about dies. Death isn't the only thing that Spider-Man also has to worry about. He also has to handle a single parent, being poor, school, a job, friends, supervillains, everything. It's a lot. And while doing this, he's still Spider-Man. With his great responsibility, he's still dealing with everything. Things collapse around him due to this responsibility. When Stan Lee created this character, he created the most human one of all. He has Batman's tragic past, but doesn't have the wealth and luxury. He has powers, but works way harder than Superman. He is the embodiment of a normal person given powers. He needs to work to earn money. He needs to have a job. He needs to keep all his taxes in line. He needs to pay rent. He's a very average person and still has to handle being Spider-Man. Being a hero isn't what you do or who you are. It's what's inside you. It's what makes you a hero. And the biggest part of that is sacrifice. When Peter realizes all these problems, he chooses to quit being Spider-Man. And with that, it works. He can focus more on his job, He learns more and keeps his grades up, and he learns more about himself and who he really is as Peter Parker, not Spider-Man. But when he saves someone without his suit and powers, he feels glad. But then learns also that someone else died because he was too slow, because he wasn't Spider-Man. And he realizes that he does have a great responsibility, a heroic responsibility. His responsibility is what leads him. It's what drives him. When he saves someone, he realizes this is what he was meant to do. He's protecting them, and he'll do whatever it takes to save them. Peter will give up what he needs the most just to save somebody. Like in the comic line, One More Day, Peter gave up his whole relationship with Mary Jane just to save his mom's life. Doing so revealed his secret identity to the world, and he had to live with it, and gave up everything just to go back to being Spider-Man, just so he could save people again. Everything that Spider-Man encompasses is what makes him a good hero. It's what makes him a good Spider-Man, especially the ways the films show him as well. Tobey Maguire's adaptation shows what happens when an adult becomes Spider-Man and he has to do adult things. Andrew Garfield's adaptation has to deal with a person with already so many struggles, has to deal with an even greater one. And Tom Holland's demonstrates that if a kid has to take this responsibility in a world full of already these amazing heroes, what he has to do to overcome that and be a known hero. But all these are all the same Spider-Man, a Spider-Man who's selfless, who is determined and underappreciated. He inspires people. He doesn't need a suit or webs or anything. He just needs to be who he is. As Stan Lee once said,
"You know one of the greatest things about Spider-Man's outfit, his costume?
What?
He is completely covered. So any kid could imagine he's Spider-Man because no color of the skin shows. He could be black under that. He could be red. He could be yellow. He could belong to any race. And that
True.
wasn't done purposely. It was done accidentally. But I think it was the best thing we did, making him so that he could be anybody under that costume."
Spider-Man is a timeless character with many possibilities. Every iteration is the best iteration in some sort of way. And they all are connected by one single thing, no matter the character, no matter the powers or anything. They're all connected because they are Spider-Man.
Spider-Man can be a really relatable guy.
Yeah, he certainly fits the criteria to relate to an overworked teenager.
Well, that's all we have for you today, FHN.
Remember to check out all our socials at FHN Today. And remember,
I'm Rachel.
and I'm Max,
Signing off.